And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at a game called Super Fantasy Rumble. This is a game in which you'll take different fantasy characters, which are very, very tongue-in-cheek, and you will go into an arena and fight with them. Does that sound different and unique? Well, it's really not. There are many games that do this, but this one has different arrows in the cards that show where they can attack. Well, that's also been done before, but this one has you roll dice to do attacking. Well, that's also been done before, but just because something's been done before doesn't mean it's a bad idea. Let's take a look. The board for Super Fantasy Rumble is a 4x4 grid. You'll notice there's a 3x3 blue grid inside the bigger one. That's because in the second half of the game, when you're down to 6 or less fighters, then you're kind of confined to a smaller space. Each player is going to be drafting different characters here. You're going to get 2 leaders and 4 warriors. So here's all the warriors. We'll take a look at some of these warriors. Each warrior has different arrows that they can attack from, and they have different special abilities. This guy here can switch positions to the facing enemy. This guy here can trade possession of him with opposing enemy's warrior type fighter only. And so you can see she has arrows that go to this side. And she has a mile shot. This guy has a life drain. And so you have different warriors here. You also have leaders. You'll have 2 of these leaders. You can see here they have shields and they have hit points. Once they take a certain number of hit points, they are knocked out. You're going to keep track of hit points with a die. So here's Prince Vincent. Here's Sergeant Armory. This guy has Bazooka Fire, and so on. So you're going to you're just going to get these dealt to you. When you get these dealt to you, you're going to take the actual character card for that person and put them in front of you. And then on top of that, you're also going to put a die that's equal to their hit points. So Evil Clone here starts with 5 hit points. The other character card, so here's Evil Clone, will be placed on the board. You'll take turns placing the different people on the board, having them face you so you know who's on which team. Each player is also going to get 3 movement cards, a slide, a dash, and a castling card. And then after everyone is placed on the board, then the game is going to be ready to begin. So let's put a few characters out here and let's get ready to rumble. On your turn, you can use all your fighters once, and you can also do 3 movements. You have a dash card, which simply lets you move in any direction to an adjacent space. You can flip these over to show that you use them. When you have a slide, you're going to slide everyone in a row and column, so I might do that. It will even push someone around the board if possible. So if I slid here, this would push this person down there. And then castling, which is very similar to that castling in chess, where if you have 2 fighters that are adjacent to each other, you can basically just switch them. So you can use those. You can also use the characters themselves to attack an enemy. When you do that, you're going to be rolling some dice. You have 2 blue dice, and you need to roll the number or higher. So, for example, let's say here that we're taking a look at Jessie Jet, and she wants to attack someone. So she can attack behind her like this, and she wants to do Skyfire. Deal 2 damage when attacking from the top row. So let's say she's in the top row, which she's not. But let's say I have that, and we do this. We roll 6. That's good enough. So she does 2 damage to the opponent. If I fail, then I miss. As you use each person, you're going to take the card that you have for that person. So let's say I use Kid Bravery. I would tap his card basically out there to show that I've used him. Once you've taken enough hit points, you are removed from the board. Once we're down to 6 fighters total, we will pause, reset up in the blue area, and continue fighting until only 1 player is left alive. That player is the winner of Super Fantasy Rumble. The first thing we'll notice about Super Fantasy Rumble, this box is, I don't know, it's kind of stark, but I do like the artwork in this game. I do like how the different characters, they're silly kind of characters, very cartoony style artwork, and the name and everything. That's very interesting in this game. However, let's start with the rule book. The rule book is very clear on the different rules that are in the game. However, It makes no attempt to put those rules in any discernible order. It doesn't even actually tell you how to set the game up at the beginning. I had to read the whole book back and forth and then go on the internet to figure out how to actually play the game in its entirety. This rule book, it doesn't tell you how to set the game up. It doesn't give you the flow of the game. It took me the longest time to figure out, can you attack with all your people at one time or just one at a time? Which, by the way, would be a better game. So let's get into that. You attack, I attack, you move and attack, I move and attack. You can move everyone and attack with everyone, I can move everyone and attack with everyone. That gives the person who goes first a huge advantage. It's offset, I suppose, by they have to set up first and their opponent can set up to respond to that. But I still don't like that whole move everybody. Then we have the dice. Now I'm all for dice in games. I love dice. This is the dice tower. But in this game, it's super random. I mean, you can miss with the same character like 10 times in a row. When I play a game, say like Summoner Wars, I'm going to hit more often than not. I will occasionally miss, but maybe I roll 4 dice and I'll hit with 2 of them. In this game, you roll, miss, roll, miss, roll, miss. Then there are the characters. There are some characters which are just crazily better than others, in my opinion. And the characters themselves, they don't feel like super fantasy rumble characters. I can only punch diagonally. So I'm going to just move until I can get you. There's been other games with this whole arrow business, and they can be done well, but it doesn't make any sense thematically. I can only hit behind me. What does that even mean? So that's problematic for me thematically, but even that, you take a look at many of these characters, okay? This guy here can attack only to the side. This guy here can only attack to the side and backwards diagonally. This one here, front, side. Oh, wow, he's a zombie. That's pretty cool. You know, some of them, I can understand if you can only attack forward, but some of them just have really weird arrows on them. Like the snake, I can attack to the right, or to the left, then to the reverse, or to the backwards right. Why? Because that's what they felt like putting on the card. And they have just different special abilities. Some of them are really cool, some of them are ranged attacks, some of them let you heal people, and some of them are just lame. So I guess you could get around that by drafting the characters rather than just giving them out randomly, but still. The problem with this game is that it's doing something that many other games do. We have Summoner Wars, we have Mage Wars to show really good examples, we have the Superhero Pack or other games that are smaller arenas in this style. And this doesn't do anything better than any of them. It doesn't do anything really different. So if it's not different, and if it's not better, and has a terrible rule book, and feels constrained, then I can't recommend it. It's a cool idea, but it just doesn't come through. Dice Tower Judgment, too many problems.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut this door.